Dueling goats.
I didn't even hear yours.
What?
Yeah. Well, see, I couldn't hear him over mine.
Only one screaming goat at a time, please.
Right, there can be only one.
Right.
Like Highlander.
Do they have to cut each other's heads off? Is that how you figure out which one is the true Highlander? The Highlander goat?
Yep. That may be how you ended up with a button rather than a full goat.
Sure, could be. I have the high ground. Oh, shoot. So what's up, Chuck?
Oh, man, just another week grinding away, closing in on 6,000 listings. Had some peaks and valleys and sales this week, like always. Let's see, continued good Discord out there in the app. Some good discussions there.
Yep, agreed.
Went up north for the weekend. Got started on some projects up there. So it was beautiful weather, man. I woke up Saturday morning. I threw a sweatshirt on. I went out, I don't know, about 8 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock, I was like, I can't wear the sweatshirt anymore. I'm ditching it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I take my kid out to the bus in the morning, and we're at that weird time of year where it's like, well, you need a sweatshirt this morning, but you don't have to wear it at home. But don't forget it at school.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing every day now, but that's right, we're getting there.
And it's weird because it'll like flip like a light switch. It'll be beautiful, beautiful, and then it's like 5:45. Oh, where's my jacket?
Right. Well, we got some rain today, so I don't know how it is out there in the rest of YouTube land, but here this is that weird time of year for us where we sort of get everything. We could have a day where it's 10 below, and then a day where it's 80, one day where we get snow, one day where it rains. So yeah, you just got to go with the flow. And I had my tops off driving the Jeep around the other day, and then
I thought you meant you were walking around shirtless.
No one wants that. But anyway, I had the tops off, driving around, parked it overnight, and the next day I get up, I was going to run some errands or whatever, and I'm like, it's like 30 degrees out now. Like yesterday I had the tops off. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely swings one way or the other pretty drastically.
It does.
So we've got, I didn't plan any specific topics for tonight. Kind of thought we'd talk about listing a little bit and future goals and things like that. Since I kind of hit a milestone, you kind of hit a milestone. You're at that 6,000 mark. I'm at the 40,000 mark. Almost 41,000 now. I listed like a madman today because I had a bunch of stuff to scan, so that makes it go quicker. Of course.
So that's a good topic. What are you listing?
This guy, the DJ, baby.
Oh, look at that. The third greatest Yankee of all time.
I bought a 560 card Jeter lot, and I was shocked at some of the bangers in it.
Yeah.
Like silver signature rookie cards, and like there's good stuff in here. It's gonna be easy money. So
yeah,
I was pretty happy with it. Well, you know that's one of my plays. I buy big lots of Jeter, and then I sort of sell them down. I sell Jeters every single day. Never go a day without a sale.
Yeah.
And then kind of as they sell down, or I feel like I'm getting low, just try to find another big lot out there and jump on it. So so this is scannable stuff. This is all I have left to scan, and then I have piles and piles and piles of can't scan it.
Yeah.
So these little CDs, can't scan those. Little tiny mini cards, unless you want to scan the sleeve, can't scan those.
Yeah, those are tricky.
So even the Pinnacle Mint, I couldn't get those to scan today, the ones with the holes in the middle.
Okay.
It kept getting like, it would feed through to where the hole was, and then the grabber must be right where the hole is, and it couldn't get the card through, so it would just, it would jam up, and I'd have to take it out, and so it's until you kind of try to scan something, you don't really know what's going to work when it isn't, and you just sort of have to live with it. But yeah, there was tons of good inserts, higher end Topps Finest stuff and shinies, lots of shinies. So yeah, it was some really nice early, more rare inserts, like early select. I got first year select, first year prism in here. Metal, can never go wrong with metal. So yeah, I was very, very, very pleased with this lot. And I got a few top loads. They just packed them with a few top loads and kind of taped them together. Because for the first time ever, I have totally run out of top loads.
Completely?
Completely. Yep. So I'm just using the Elite card savers right now to do shipping, and obviously I'll pick some up Saturday when I buy at the show. And I did buy a big lot of 1969 Topps football, and those are all top loaded, and those should be here in a day or two. I actually bought those before the Jeters, but the Jeters made their way here a little faster. So
yeah. So a couple things on that. One, if you're in the market for at least a couple packs of new top loaders, I did see an ad come through for Ultra Pro. It was like a buy one get one, or buy one get one half off, or something like that. But I'm not in the market at the moment, so I didn't look at the details, but you might want to check that out. Yeah. Two, the whole, I give you a lot of crap about Jeter, and that's all in good fun. I'm a Jeter
of course.
fan too.
Yeah, of course.
But the weird thing, it always amazes me how sales can be different from store to store. So, you talk about, it's odd I would go a day without a Jeter sale. I mean, right now I have 22 Jeters out in my store. Some of them go back to November with 0 views. It's just like I sell a few, but I wouldn't say he's a steady seller for me for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat building that customer base. I have regular customers that buy Jeters. I even have some sales already today, and I was running low, which is why I bought this stuff. But I have somebody bought 2008 Sweet Spot base Jeters. I sold a 1994 Collector's Choice Jeter. So I even already had some today before I started pounding it with this stuff. I think there's a couple more now too, but yeah, I think you have to kind of find what your spot is and go from there. And that can change over time too. My store was highly dominated with big football names, Favre and Brady and stuff like that. And I've tried to move out of that a little bit. I messaged you the other day about how does basketball do for you, and you said, well, unless it's kind of color and stuff, it doesn't really. And it's kind of been the same for me. Now the last probably 2 or 3 days, I've sold like 30 Luka cards.
Yeah, that's one of the guys I move pretty regular.
Yeah, so maybe now it's like starting, that'll pick up for me as I've been buying more Luka, because I think that has a lot to do with it too. Like if you have 5 cards of a guy, you're not gonna sell a lot.
Right.
It's just the nature of that beast. But yeah, so I think you're right. I think it's smart to make an identity for your store and kind of decide what's going to be like your thing. Like people come to me because I have the Favres. They come to me because I have the Sports Illustrated for kids. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with just restocking those products. I know them very well. I know where I can source them from. The fact that I can scan the Sports Illustrated for Kids cards now is a freaking game changer. Because those are such a pain in the butt. They don't have years on them. It's hard to find the numbers. And, a lot of the players' names and sports and stuff are unusual. And so it's to be able to scan them. It's not foolproof. I can only get about 80 to 85% of them to actually show up. Just because of, they're full color pictures, and if they're dark, they don't scan. And then also some of them just don't get identified, and you have to kind of poke around and make it work. But even at that, it was such a huge time saver, and that was a time suck of a buy anyway, because they were all sheets, so I had to tear them all, and which I love. I love doing it, but it was nice as I kind of tore the sheets and I had a nice pile. I would throw them in the scanner and then I'd list them and then I'd tear a few sheets, and it was really nice getting through a lot of those
Scanner's
at
kind
one
of
time.
grown on you, huh?
Yeah, I always thought the scanner was something I wanted. It was Car Dealer Pro that I wasn't too confident in.
Yeah.
The early versions of it were not too impressive to me. And I kind of thought, well, for me, what's the point of the scanner if I don't have a listing program? Because I can list just as fast on my phone if
Right.
I'm doing them one by one anyway. And I don't do remote like you. I sit at my desk and I list. So anyway, but yeah, definitely with the scanner being tied into that, it's a no brainer. Car Dealer Pro is getting a little bit better each day, so it has its hiccups. I had one today where it was really weird. You know, when you go to add your photos into your batch,
Yeah.
did you ever have it where you had like an odd number of photos for some reason, and it was like, oh, you must have a front and a back?
Like if I take a close up of a serial number, it doesn't like that. You got to have an even amount
Right.
of pictures.
Two pictures only. You can go in and edit the listing after, but you can't do it with Car Dealer Pro.
Right.
Well, anyway, I had an even number of pictures, of course, because I scanned them through and they all went front to back. But for whatever reason, it wasn't picking up one of my pictures in my album. But it didn't reject it and say you must have a front and a back. What it did was it would put the back of the previous card with the front of the next card.
I think I've had that once.
So a total mismatch. So then what sucks about that is I had to basically delete them because how was I going to work with that with the pictures all screwed up? And then a wasted set of scans, which is one of the reasons I love doing like a 40 or 50 card batch, because if I waste a 40 scan batch, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of ticked me off because I'm like, really, you're going to charge me? Like, there should be a way in there. Like, if you scan and you just totally flat out delete that batch, it shouldn't count.
I would agree.
They don't really count, and this is why I brought this up, because I think there's a misconception. They're not really counting your listings as your total. They're counting your scan in.
Right.
So there's even sometimes where I scan it in and it's like, it can't find the card right, or it's too cumbersome in the title, and I just delete that card out of the batch.
Yeah.
That still counts against my scans.
That chaps me. Like if I missed a defect on a card and scan it anyway, but then when I see the picture, I'm like, oh, let me look at that, and I'm like, I'm not gonna list that now. That chaps my. I'm gonna swear. You're making me swear already, Adam.
You can swear. We're all big kids here.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but
a couple scans, it's not a big deal. But like in your example, if there was a mismatch on the image uploads early in the batch where the whole batch was screwed up,
it does.
Yeah,
and that's why I like the smaller batch. I think it's easier to manage the feed, so you get less jams. And this is just me. This is my preference. I understand there's tools to do bigger batches and time saving. I get all that part, but for me, it's just manageable. If something, comes out bad, or I got to delete one or two or whatever, it doesn't really cost me in my overall consumption of scans. And for the, it depends on how many scans you have too, right? Like if you have 1,100 scans, which is what I pay for a month, probably going to be enough where I can have a batch or two of 50 dump, and it doesn't really affect me. And when I run out of scans, I just run out of scans. Then I do all my photo listing instead. So
yeah,
it's kind of I happen to get an extra 1,000 scans this month, so I'm pushing through as many as I can before I got to get it back to you on Saturday. So. But it's working good. I cleaned it yesterday or the day before. Might have been the day before. I don't know. They all kind of run together after a while. Once I'm doing taxes, I lose all track of what day and year it is, because that eats all my brain power.
So,
but I cleaned it and it cleaned up real nice. It's been working great. I haven't gotten any scan lines or nothing like that. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, I've been since we handed it off the last time. I preloaded a bunch of scans to my desktop so I would have them, and I still run some through CDP even when I'm not actively scanning in real time. Like I kind of have this rhythm where I'll take 15 minutes before I leave for work in the morning and run some preloaded scans through CDP because it's pretty quick. And then the rest of the day in the evening, I'm usually catching up on, stuff like this, Roger
Shiny.
Staubach Blue Prism,
Yeah,
where I can't scan it. So then I'm back to my phone. And it was funny. I know I mentioned this to you already. It took me a couple days to get back into rhythm on my phone after we made the switch, because when I have the scanner, I'm scanning and listing enough direct from that through CDP that I really don't have to go back to my phone at all.
right. I'm the same. Yes.
I will load a few to take with me to the office, or if I'm taking a trip someplace, I might load a few on my phone. But mostly I'm doing big enough batches when I have the scanner that my phone use gets cut down a lot. But I am working off my laptop. And then when you take the scanner, like I said, like for about a week, I had enough scans saved in my laptop where I would just slide a bunch into CDP when I needed. Now, the last week or so, I've been out of all my sports scans, so I've been doing all phone on sports, but I still had some non-sports stuff. So like today, I was listing some Spider-Man, some Star Wars.
Nice.
This is all kind of screwy. Vulpix there.
Nice.
So I'm catching up on some oddball stuff like muscle cars, and I did soccer today too. So
Nice.
I finally listed the cards I set aside out of that box break last week. All the inserts and parallels that we pulled out of there, and the Hollands. I finally got those listed today. So stuff like that. The soccer, the CDP software worked good on that as well. There was maybe a couple cards every time I threw a batch in there that it didn't match up right, but overall it worked pretty well on soccer.
Yeah, I've scanned quite a bit of soccer in there. It's been okay. I mainly buy shiny soccer, so Topps Chrome, Merlin, Prism, so it's harder with that. You can't scan that stuff. But
well, and that's where some of the stuff I was doing was the foil board, aqua foil board, the regular foil board. So those are all shiny. So I did take the pictures with my phone, but then I still run them through CDP.
Right. Yeah, it's now we've legit had it for a good while. It's definitely has value. Now there's some other things that are might be coming out down the pipeline that'll change some things too, but we'll see how it goes. For now, the scanner and Card Dealer Pro are a good combo. I've been getting more and more messages. Well, we never actually started the show off, so let's do that. Yo, YouTube. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live with Charlie, the Stu, and the Imitation Stu. So that's stew with stew like the soup, right? That's the stew with the meat, and then this is tofu stew.
Stew with the meat.
This is tofu stew, right? Fake meat. It makes sense. It kind of makes sense.
We had soup for dinner this weekend at the KI Convention Center for a card show too.
Yeah, we definitely have a busy weekend coming up that way. We've got a table there, so stop by if you're going to be at the Green Bay KI show and say hi.
9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
I'm definitely going to be a buyer. I got a lot of stuff I gotta pick up. But yeah, it's a great show. It's probably my favorite. Well, it's definitely my favorite show to set up at. Just great atmosphere, good layout, lots of different hallways and nooks and crannies you can shop in, and great dealers. Always find good stuff. I always find good prices, great, bulk buys, things like that. So if you're into that kind of thing. But I have to start changing the way I buy a little bit. I got to start going more towards some mid-end and more liquid stuff to keep from squeezing at the top on my listings limits.
Yeah.
So this will probably be the first show where that's a little bit more of a focus for me. Now, Jeters are kind of an exception because they're really, I mean, a low end Jeter card is like $3.
Yeah.
So to me, they're almost all mids, except for maybe a few really low end base cards. And it's a player that I sell regularly in quantity, which helps you move a lot of listings anyway. If you sell 10 cards at a time, you're chopping out 10 listings.
Right.
That helps you rotate that quite a bit. But yeah, so Green Bay card show this weekend. I'm trying to think what else was going on this weekend. Isn't there something on Sunday? There's a show on Sunday too. We're not going to it, but
is there?
Was it Stevens Point or was it Madison? Something else was this weekend, I think.
Oshkosh is the 28th. I'm not seeing anything for this weekend. But
pretty sure it's Madison.
Madison, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, if you can't get to the Green Bay show, if the Madison show is going on, hop onto that one. I don't know for sure. Madison card show, because I talked to Bo earlier this week, and I thought he said he had to take it this weekend. It was the only weekend he could do it.
I know there was going to be one that overlaps with the Green Bay show. I just didn't know it was this weekend.
April 30th. Maybe it is next weekend.
Okay.
Let's see. Is this the calendar? You could have like an easy calendar out here to see.
I know.
I think this is last year's calendar. Well, anyway, you guys are smart enough. You can look them up and see what's out there. But yeah, Green Bay show, if you can make it, it's a great one. It's at a hotel, so if you're traveling, you need a room, pretty convenient that way. It is right downtown. There's lots of other stuff to do there, places to eat, good stuff like that. Minnesota has a card show this weekend, I'm reading now. Stevens Point, Appleton were last weekend. Both amazing shows sales-wise for me, says MD. Yeah, I wasn't able to make it to any of the shows last weekend. It's just too hard to go to a show every weekend. And I buy enough where it's like not necessary every week. And I buy online too. I bought a lot of, well, it ended up being like 600 and some Sports Illustrated for Kids cards plus posters, and then another lot of 600 Jeters, and then I've got another lot of like 70 some 1969 Topps football. So that's a pretty good amount of stuff to work with, in between the shows. So yeah. I like that. I feel like if I go to a show, I got to bring money. I got to buy some stuff. I got to make it worth my time. So those weeks off in between are kind of nice because I can just casually shop or look for something more specific, which at a card show, of course, you can't really. If you're value box buying, you can't really do that. You got to buy whatever's there.
Right.
But
Madison this weekend is confirmed, Saturday the 20th.
Yeah. That's what I thought. So yeah, so there's also the Madison show. Try to get to one of them if you can. Two very good shows. I was at the Madison a couple weeks ago and love that show. Always do really well there. It's a lot. It's almost too big in my head now, just because there's rooms down here, rooms over here, and a room up here, and people in the hallway, and it's really hard. I feel like I'm pressed for time when I'm at a show because it's all about the early, getting to the box early, and when you got to move around and do a lot of different things, it makes it harder. So,
yeah.
But lots of variety, lots of stuff to pick up. Green Bay show is sold out, so it'll be busy there for sure. Weather should be good, so looking forward to that. And then Sunday, I'm going to fertilize my lawn and do my Spectre side. So the world just keeps getting more exciting day by day.
That does sound exciting for somebody.
Yeah, doesn't it? I like having a nice lawn, okay? So that's part of it.
All right, okay.
All right, should we get into, maybe we should start getting into the chat.
Yeah, let's jump into some.
And see who is on here. It looks like we got a pretty good amount of stuff going on. Joe is here. He says, "What up, boys?" Wow. Hey, says Robert. Matt says, Green Bay show weekend. You bet it is. Matt says, yo, fellas. Peter says we gave him some goat overload. So
it's the best kind of overload.
So I would change this. I would say goat overlord. That's more appropriate. We have a goat overlord.
All right.
Not goat overload, goat overlord. Okay. Let's see. Let's drop something. Let's see what else we got. Yotes to Utah.
Nice.
Speaking of soccer, I watched the two simultaneous games on Paramount Plus today, and Manchester City lost in penalty shootout.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't very pleased with that.
Not exactly what you're looking for.
So Erling Haaland was not that effective today. He did hit the crossbar with a header and almost like slide tackled a ball into the goal, but wasn't that active in the game. So later in the second half, Guardiola, who was the coach, took him out and put in Julian Alvarez. You know who Julian Alvarez is now, don't you?
You know that name, yes.
But Julian Alvarez is just a different kind of striker, a little bit more involved in the play, more midfield build-up type stuff, versus Haaland is just a natural goal scorer. But what I didn't like about that was the game was tied 1-1, and it's like, okay, well, if they go to penalty kicks, their best penalty shooter is Erling Haaland. And once you come out of the game, you can't be a penalty shooter.
Okay.
So now Julian Alvarez shot and scored his goal. So it's like, okay, well, that would have been Erling's shot, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it just kind of throws it off a bit. De Bruyne came out, so De Bruyne didn't get to shoot. And they ended up losing 4-3 in the penalty kicks.
Yeah.
It was just a little disappointing that way. So their Champions League tournament is done. In the other game, it was Bayern Munich and Arsenal, and Bayern Munich won 1-0. So Arsenal's out. So two of the big Premier League teams, the two biggest Premier League teams, out like that. So yeah. So now we go to the semifinal, and that's so it's Bayern Munich, and then who beat Manchester City today? Can't even think of who it was now. Anyway, they get to move on, obviously, since they beat Man City. Real Madrid. They played me out. Real Madrid. You got your Spanish team, which is Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich, who is of course German. So
who stars for Real Madrid?
Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No.
You ever hear of a guy called Jude Bellingham?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I talk about him quite a bit. Rodrigo, who was the goal scorer. Rodrigo's pretty big name. Luka Modric, he's old.
Okay.
like very old now. And
he's got a bag of tricks that keep him relevant.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend, and he has all these caps. Caps is what they call how many games you play in soccer. But he's just not effective anymore. He's just beyond the age of being able to compete. But they got Nacho. You've probably seen that name before. It's just a single name on a card, and it says Nacho.
Not Garnacho? It's Nacho?
No, not Garnacho. Not Garnacho. Garnacho is good too, but I think Garnacho plays for Liverpool, if I remember correctly. But anyway, yeah, a couple of good games, but yeah, it was unfortunate we didn't get to where we wanted to go in the quarterfinals today, but maybe next year. So Real Madrid won the Champions League 2 years ago. Man City won it last year, so now Man City's going to have to give. It's a traveling trophy, kind of like the Lombardi. So Man will have to give it up, and it might go back to Real. So that could start to become a pretty solid rivalry over the years. All right, Troy is here. Welcome, Troy. Good evening. Great video, Adam. Of course it was. My videos stink. You know what's funny? Speaking of that, I can't figure YouTube out at all. So I'll make a video where I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. My thumbnail's pretty good. I got a little catchy title, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna get a ton of views. And it ends up being like 9th out of my last 10 videos, really, in views. And then I made the video today, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of a good video, but it's very niche, right? Who cares about 60,000 listings on eBay? Like, only us idiots, are into that, which is a large portion of my viewing audience, but even so. So I'm like, yeah, this should do okay. Maybe, and no, tearing it up. I'm at like double what my last first place video was, because they give you like the last 10 ranking videos. Like,
well, in a certain amount of time, videos. How many views you've had,
right. So it's just dominating, and I'm like, why the hell is anybody watching this? Over some, I don't know. So I kind of just stopped trying to figure it out, and I just feel like when I get to catch the wind to make a video, and I feel like I've got enough content that I want to put something on screen, and then I make it, and if people watch it, great. If they don't, and a lot of times it'll be weird too. I'll launch it. Sometimes it depends on what time of the day you launch it, and so I get that part, where it'll catch up later on. But sometimes like it'll go 2 weeks and not get very many views, and then boom, it just gets a ton of views. So I don't know. It's really strange. But my most watched video is my little instructions on the AI Yoda toy.
Ironically enough, YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm. It's got like 80,000 views or something. It's stupid. Yeah.
Nice.
So, well, when I found out, it started taking off in views because I had all this watch time, and I'm like, I have like 2 videos on here. Who's watching these videos for like 10 hours a day? And what I found out was somebody had basically used it. They used it as an advertising to try to sell this toy on their website. They used my video. Didn't pay me anything, nothing like that, of course. I wasn't monetized because I just had a few videos out, so I wasn't making anything on it. And so I started putting like affiliate links and stuff in it. I'm like, at least if they're going to share it, I'll see if I can make a few bucks off of people clicking on it to buy it somewhere else or whatever.
Right.
It was a pretty solid little video for just off the cuff. I shot it at work in a break room, and it's pretty funny. So I wish I was better at videos because I do like it, and I do feel like I can add value to the community. But it's just not my best skill set. Buying Derek Jeter cards and reselling them, that's my best skill set. So and that doesn't translate that well to video editing.
So we'll I was just gonna say we'll look for your next video on Derek Jeter.
Right. Yeah, every video should be on Derek Jeter.
So I have not seen your newest video yet. Surprised, right?
Yeah.
So I've been I've been back in the office for the last week, and I don't get a chance to have YouTube on as much until, usually my routine, if I'm not working from home, is a lot of times I throw some YouTube on when I lay my weary head down next to the missus at the end of the day. And that's just weird to be watching you on YouTube while I'm in bed with my wife. It doesn't seem right. So I usually don't watch your stuff then.
Well, at least it's not me watching you on YouTube while I'm in bed with your wife.
Yes.
That would be really weird.
But tomorrow I start a week of working from home again, so I'll probably have it on tomorrow and check it out. So all about getting the 60K, right?
Yeah, so I'll submit it, summate it, I guess, a little bit for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. I put it out early this afternoon, late morning, something like that. Unfortunately, it kind of times out in my work week that I release a video the day of the live, so I don't expect everybody to drop everything and watch it or anything like that. It's not super long, like some of them, but do have some sales stuff in there. I like throwing that in. It sort of chops up the video a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed you always pepper that in.
Yeah, that's kind of popular, and it just extends the video. It doesn't make the video as boring as, well, number 1, do this. Number 2, do this. Anyway, Yeah, I've been thinking about it more and more, as you know. What do I do when I hit 60,000? So I wanted to kind of make a video about what I feel like my options are, or at least my best option.
Sell off all inventory and get out of the business.
If somebody was willing to buy me out at a price I would consider fair, I would probably do that. I don't know that I would get out of it. I would just sort of restart, right?
Yeah. Hit the reset button.
Revamp. But yeah, so a couple of different ideas. I had one where it was and I've told you this before, where I just do like a huge clearance sale right when I hit 60 grand and just sell down a couple thousand cards, then list, and you'll have your natural turnover with other sales and stuff, and then just kind of keep doing that as I need to free up some listings. Another option is to just say screw it and go right to the next store level and pay the $300 a month. You get the dedicated eBay rep that can help you with claims and things like that. There's a little bit of value there. You get 15,000 more listings, and it drops your listing cost above that to 5 cents a listing, which isn't terrible if you're listing decent cards that will sell. Because you don't want to relist that card for 10 months before it sells, or you got 50 cents into the listings. You see what I mean? That's the catch with that.
Yeah.
Another was look at some other platforms to sell on, start a second store. I think most of them are pretty obvious as to what the choices are. But that's basically what I had come up with to this point. So Troy here wants to know he doesn't really want to know what you thought of my video. He wants to know what you thought of my ideas and my approaches to the 60,000.
Well, I guess it's to be determined, since I haven't seen your ideas in your video yet.
Well, no, but I just told you pretty much what they were.
Oh, the sell down, and
Yeah.
I think that makes sense if you don't. Well, let me backtrack on that. You've also had this thought of setting up your own platform to sell from, where you can go beyond 60,000. And I guess it depends on how serious you are about doing that, right? Like if it's something on the near horizon, I don't know that I would necessarily feel the need to sell down some things, because I could just start fresh on the next platform, right? If I have that ready. But I think you're gonna have to sell down a little bit to maintain room for some fresh inventory. Now, is the 60 grand a cap, or are you just going to have to start paying extra after 60?
Well, after 60, you have to pay for the listing, which is 10 cents.
Which is what we do anyway around some of the cutoff areas for each of their store offerings, right? So have you done the math to understand, hey, if I get X amount of listings over 60 grand, it's going to be comparative to me listing someplace else, or something like that?
I haven't done the math with that. I did the math on how many extra listings can I do before I have to buy the $300 store to make it worth it. And that's 6,000. That's why I said I have 66,000 listings. I've been saying that for a long time.
So I guess that's my point, is just make sure 60 is where the store hits a cap, but it's essentially not your break point, right? Because that says, hey, I can get another 6,000 before I really have to worry about an additional expense above and beyond what I really want to do, right? So, but the sell down, I think a sell down every once in a while just to shake up your inventory is a good idea in general. So why wouldn't you do that at, one of those marks?
Well, that's kind of the way I look at it, because most likely what would sell would be the stuff that I have slightly overpriced, or somebody was watching it for a while and they just wanted to hit the right deal. You can sell a lot of quantity. I've done a 50% off coupon before, and it was insanity.
Yeah.
I was getting 80 and 100 card orders and stuff like that. And it just, you cut so much expense out of it because it's cheap for supplies and shipping and all that when you're mailing those quantities, that cutting it 50%. Most of the time, if I'm selling a card, I bought it for 10 cents, 50 cents, and I'm selling it for $4 or $5. So
Yeah.
you have a lot of room in there, margin wise to, to drop it if you need to. Especially, like I said, if you can consolidate it and save on the expenses.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
the other,
if you can sell it to just cover your shipping costs and make room for fresh inventory, I think that's a
right,
win too.
right, exactly. Yeah, even if it's a break even on a card or two, it's worth it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of how I look at it. It's like if I sell 10 cards, by the time I pay shipping and eBay fees or whatever, basically a card or two I didn't make anything on.
Right.
But then you basically made pure profit on the other 8 because your expenses, everything else was already paid for.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, how I try to do some of that math in my head. Um, I think I have one other option that I discussed in the video, and I think this is the one I'm leaning towards the most. Can you guess what it is?
No, I'm not going to throw a guess out there because they
Okay.
would be wild ass guesses.
Well, I kind of talked to you about it in messages too, but I think what I'm going to do is just start, and I kind of mentioned it earlier in this video even. I think I'm going to start going to some more mid-end. So still spending the same at a show, but I'm buying $5 to $10 cards instead of, or $1 to $5 cards instead of 25 and 50-cent cards.
Right. Right.
Now, that being said, if I'm finding $5 cards for a quarter, I'm not a moron. I'll buy the 20, I'll pay 25 cents for the $5 card. But
Yeah.
but I think as I get some of those sales, some of the stuff sells out of the store, I can start adding less inventory, but better value, more liquidity, things like that. And then I should be able to naturally stick around the 60,000 mark and still be making more money.
That's a great point. And I wouldn't have thought about that because, like you said, we've already kind of talked about you're already doing some of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I as well feel like I've gotten heavy on the $1.99 cards. And actually, as you were saying that, I just did a quick search in my store, so I've got over 5,900 listings, and so I did a search to say how many do I have under $2.01 for a price. And the answer to that is 1,995. So what is that? Roughly 40% of my store?
Yeah, about 40%. Yep.
That's probably too heavy. And in fact, I had already decided before this discussion that, when we go to the show this weekend, I'm hitting the mid-tier boxes at the tables that sometimes I grab.
Don't you dare. Those are my damn boxes. You stay out of the soccer. Stay out of the soccer.
But especially I feel like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 shows, the first box I walk into is like a dime box that I'm hitting. Yeah.
Me too.
So I have to walk past it this weekend if that's the first thing I see. And I need to go to those $1, $2, $5 boxes and just be a little more selective. I'm going to have the same budget going in that I always have. So it means I'm going to come home with fewer cards, but I need better variety in my store.
I think my plan is to just start in the more mid-end boxes. I still plan to look through the 10-cent boxes if I feel like there's stuff in there. If I can get Jeters and Otanis and stuff for 10 cents, I'm gonna buy those.
Sure.
If for nothing else, just to sort of round out, the selection of those players in the store.
Yeah.
And there are certainly people who buy, $2 base Otani cards. So
yeah.
But yeah, it won't be my focus. It won't be the priority. And it's time. It's time to look at doing some upgrades and, improving your storefront, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only, if you're a buyer, there's only so much $1.99 cards you're going to wade through, right? Because I don't know that a lot of people go out seeking cards that are at $1.99. I think they go out looking for a player or a set, and then they see a bunch of $1.99 cards and they're like, oh, I could pick up a couple of those cheap. And then they end up scrolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need some of those higher anchors to maybe bring some of the folks in that then lead them to some of those $1.99 cards.
I feel like a bunch of my $1.99 sales are also just to hit the 5 card mark for the coupon.
Yes, exactly.
So they'll buy, 4 $7 cards and then one $1.99 card so that they get the coupon code.
Yeah.
But they're not really spending anymore to get the savings.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's okay. I only paid 10 cents for the cards, whatever. But it'd be nice to go more mid end, and it's like, okay, well, I'm giving them a percentage off, but they're spending $8 a card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, my average card price, I don't know if you ever look at this for you, but mine slipped a little bit. I was at $3.85 for like a super long time. Now I'm at like $3.82, which is kind of crazy. That only moved 3 cents. So I actually have a pretty decent like average sale price, but I still think I would like it to be a bit higher than that.
I haven't looked at that in a long time. Is that just in your performance sales metrics?
Yep. Is it sales or summary?
I
think it's sales.
Yes.
Yep,
I'm at 335.
Yep, I'm at
So last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about too is, okay, great, I hit 60,000 listings, and now I do a second store, and I got another 60,000 listings. Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of work, just labor wise to pull the cards and ship them and do all that. I'd like to maintain my labor level and then get more money out of it. So switching, adjusting some to some mid-end stuff, I think might be the right time to do that. I still feel like the market, it's still a good buyer's market to pick up a lot of those cards, have them in the store. Not a ton of extra risk as far as price and movement and things.
Yeah. I'm actually, we got talking about the average sale price per item. I flipped mine the last year to look at the full year. I'm actually surprised. Mine came in at a 532. And
last year,
considering I feel like I'm primarily dealing in very low end cards, I'm surprised to see it over $5.
But I think when you started, you were selling like better stuff, and you were grading some stuff and selling it.
A couple of things, yeah.
If you're gonna grade and sell, you're gonna be at pretty much $10 a card. At least when you grade and sell. And I have some higher dollar sales in there too, which obviously boosts it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and that was the other thought I had. And actually, I think somebody suggested to me on my video, they said, well, why don't you start a second store and make that your mid-end store? And then have a low-end store and a mid-end store, and then stop listing mid-end stuff on the current store where people are just using that as the coupon discount cards, and then you'd have more consistent on one store and another store that way.
Well, it's just like the card manufacturers with different brands at different price points, right?
Right. So
you've got your Chrome store, you've got your Immaculate store, you've got your flagship store.
Right. So, but that gets kind of tricky too. Like, where's the cutoff? What is mid end? What is low end? I don't know that that's entirely the right. It's not the wrong answer, but I don't know that's entirely the right answer either. So, it's just kind of some food for thought. And as we talk to more and more in the Discord, and I've hit 5,000, I've hit 6,000. And I was in on this early, and now everybody's kind of catching up and stuff. Well, you're gonna have to start thinking about this too.
Yeah.
At some point. And then the labor thing really kind of drove part of that into me today too. I was like, well, I don't know if I want to sell a lot more cards. Like, I don't know if that's really my goal. I would like more money for my sales.
Right.
Would be if somebody were like, yeah, if you could change anything, what would it be? I'd be like, well, I would like more money, please, out of doing what I do.
Same work, more money.
Right. So I think using the capital from the small stuff and then putting it into the mid stuff and then getting not as much profit margin percentage wise, but bigger dollars, but less work. I think that seems to make a lot of sense. So, and I've been doing this long enough now. I know what is liquid, what isn't liquid, what, okay, great, I can get this for 5 cents, but am I ever going to sell this damn thing? Somebody else suggested too.
Buyer everything.
There is, right. Got another suggestion too of, well, make 2 stores, but have one be non-sport and one be sport. Yeah. Which in theory is a good idea because you know exactly what to list where. Not much question on that one, but I have a bunch of non-sport in my current store, so do I cancel those and then I try to add them somewhere else? And yeah. I have a lot of buyers who will buy 2 Marvel cards and 2 Jeter cards together. So I don't know that I necessarily want to split up my brand that way either. Because then that's the other thing. Now you've got another store. Now you need another store name and another logo and I gotta get another business card and I have to go to 2 eBays in the morning and print the orders for each one. And I already have another business that I got to do too. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to create a huge extra load of work. Building my own .com is, I definitely think is something that I still want to pursue. But man, it's so hard to get people to go to your website to buy stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that I could start to create that on there, especially since I can use Car Dealer Pro to upload to it.
Yeah.
And as long as I keep the store at 60,000, I can still do what I need to do here, and then just kind of let that website build over time and start to promote it as it gets big enough to really be a place to shop. So, because I can't think of another way to really do it and be able to get to drive traffic.
Yeah.
It's great that you would get all the profit, all the money out of it. You don't have that eBay middleman, but
you would have to pay Google ad services to be touting your website.
Yep. You'd want to have some click basis. You want to, do Facebook ads, stuff like that. And that might end up costing you more, especially if you're still trying to sell $1.99 cards.
Yeah.
Which is why people don't do that, and we all just go to eBay and we put it out there, and that's where I still look at it like if I'm at this is going to be the best example I can give. So let's say we're at this show on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. And you ask 10 people, they've got a little pile of cards. Where did you buy these cards from online? What are they going to tell you?
eBay.
9 out of 10 of them are going to say I bought them on eBay.
Yeah.
So
it's the king right now.
Yeah. So I don't pay them other than the $60. I don't pay them anything unless they sell something. I love that part of it. I don't think it's highly underestimated how valuable that is. That you don't have expenses before you have sales.
I guess another way to look at this, another outlook that maybe you've kind of ruled out kind of early is maybe it's not that unthinkable for you to go to the premium store. The what do they call it? What's the top level?
Well, there's 2 more levels above where we're at. We're in a premium store.
Yeah, well, you are, I think.
Oh, you're not?
I don't know if I'm in the same one as you or not.
Are you paying the $60 a month?
I don't know. I'm paying something a month.
All right.
It's just a sunk cost every month. I don't think about it anymore.
That's fine.
Where's my subscription?
Let's see. I'm going to pull this up here the comparisons. Okay, so the premium is $59.95 a month, and you get 60,000 listings.
Yes, I'm on premium.
I assumed you would be, or you'd be paying a bunch of fees if you were still on basic.
Yeah.
The next level is Anchor, and that's where you pay $300 a month, and you get basically 15,000 more listings, and any listing above that is 5 cents, which is half of what we would pay now if we stayed in our plan and we're over 60,000. And then you get that dedicated eBay rep.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, give or take. I don't know how helpful they actually are with that, but
I would imagine they are. I think they are a difference maker, but I look at it as I see where your business is at now, Adam, and you are very consistent. You are very profitable. You've turned it into a full-time job. Now you have tools to list more effectively. You have a scanner. CDP has come along. I think there's going to be more developments that make it even easier to list within the next year to 18 months. I honestly, I think you're missing some options if you already kind of tell yourself, yeah, I don't think the Anchor store is for me. I think that could very well be a sweet spot for you.
The only thing I don't like about it is it only gives you 15,000 more listings.
Yep.
There really isn't that much more there for you.
But to your earlier point, if you are more targeted to certain types of listings with those next 15 to really drive those different segments in your store, I think it pays off.
And I think you could be right at. We'll have to see how I still have 20,000 listings to go too. So to be fair, it's not like this has to happen tomorrow.
But next week.
At the rate I've been going, I've been listing like a madman. But the more you list, the more you sell, and then you have more listings to do, and it does compound too. And there's only so many hours in the day.
But again, to the conversation of increasing your price point, then your volume isn't necessarily increasing at a rate that makes it feel that much busier.
That's exactly why that's heavily where I'm leaning. I think it's a little bit easier business model. It's a little bit quicker to move through some inventory. I think I could easily stay at 60,000 listings and more than double my income just by moving the cards over to something else where I'm not listing as many and I'm getting higher sales numbers, higher sales dollars. Provided I can source the material. You got to have stuff to sell.
Yeah, but I don't see that being a problem.
No, it's just searching is a little different.
So, I by no means am I an expert on this after just 1 year, but my experience at card shows is it's kind of an inverse bell curve, right? Like you have a lot of low end buyers now, and you have a lot of higher end buyers.
Yep.
There are those that are in the dollar box, and there are those that are under the glass cases. And I don't see as much traffic in the stuff that's in between.
Yep. And that's where that might be the best spot to hit because there isn't as much going on there. I bought out of a $2 to $5 box when I was at the last Appleton show.
Yeah.
I killed it out of there. I mean, there was good stuff in there for good prices too, but you also, I think I can get a better bulk doing that too.
Yeah.
So let's say, because you're probably going to spend more money, right, out of one buy, but less cards. So I bought $140 worth of cards, and I got them for $110.
Mm-hmm.
So I saved $30 on that buy, and a couple of those cards were over $30 alone.
Right.
There were some Jeter rookies in there. There was a Kobe parallel card, and sold. Pretty much everything sold instantly, and I got retail or better for it. I got some of my higher prices even without offers. So I'm like, I don't know. I got to start, probably poking through some more of those types of boxes and,
I
looking
agree.
for that with the liquidity.
I think there's profit to be had on that mid-end stuff. And the only reason I haven't played more in there thus far is I was concerned at getting a base volume level in my store to get things started. I had a fixed budget when I went to shows, and I needed volume. So where am I going to get the most volume? From those dime boxes and quarter boxes and 50-cent boxes. And I think that'll always be my bread and butter. But I need to start exploring the margins available. Like yesterday, in our Discord, I posted that Richard Petty memorabilia card. That was, I think I bought that for $10 as a throw-in with a dollar box volume buy, and then I just flipped it for 40, right? So my selling expenses aren't considerably higher than they are on the dollar box stuff. Well, a couple bucks more for shipping, right? Because it's over the 20.
Right.
But everything else is pretty much the same. So there's some untapped potential there. And I think in your case specifically, as you bump up against the 60K, that's really where you need to focus on.
Yeah. I concur. That's basically where I sit right now, and I'm in the perfect position to start looking at that because I still have room to list, so I can still buy 10-cent stuff and quarter stuff. But so it gives me some leeway right now to start playing in that mid end and start, like you said, start building inventory in that mid end, so I become a store transitioning to more mid end. Before I hit those maximum listings. And then if I can stay at the 60,000 listings, I'm golden. I can just stay in my $60 a month store and go that, play that route.
Yeah.
The only problem is I love non-sport stuff, and there isn't a lot of $15 to $20 non-sport. It's a lot of, there's some with some promo cards and some, obviously autographs, stuff like that. But I love the old 80s sticker cards and, those types of things.
Yep.
So I don't think I would ever just not be a low end dealer at all. I think that would be foolish.
Right.
But yeah, it's just going to have to be, instead of just buying a big random box of whatever football and listing them all, it's going to be a little more selective.
This is a really good conversation because we haven't talked a lot about getting out of low end before. The focus of our discussions have always been we're low end card sellers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't think that's necessarily changing. For me, it's definitely not. I'm not at that point yet. But as we talk about this, what I think about is this is essentially the same practice in the hobby where you're consistently looking to trade up and buy up.
Right, correct.
You're just doing it in a seller perspective at a store level versus I want to take this Mike Trout card and turn it into his, second year rookie cup card. And then I'm going to take that rookie cup card and turn it into his base rookie card. And then, just keep building that way. We're having the same discussion right now about our stores and selling. And that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you have to look. Well, for me, this is how I make a living, so I really have to look at it. But I think any kind of business or anything you're trying to grow or your assets or whatever, you have to start looking at. You have to constantly look at the next level, right?
Right.
You buy a little tiny house to live in when you're a kid, and then you buy this house to rent out, and then you buy a couple duplex. If you're going to be a real estate mogul, you have to start, moving up to some of these different properties, and so yeah, and it would be nice to not have to ship 400 cards in a day, but 50 cards, but made the same amount of money or more money. So the biggest influence in me right now in these decisions is labor.
Yeah.
and time. You know, it would be awesome to work half the time I'm working now and make twice as much money or something. You know, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of my key to be able to doing some of it. Just like the FARV stuff, I had 40,000 FARV cards. What the hell did I have 40,000 FARV cards for? But I list them and they fill my drawers and I sell a ton of them. I ship them out and then I grab another, you know, and they're gonna slowly, basically I'm trading up. I'm selling my low end FARV stuff. I've got really nice high end stuff too to sell, and PC, but I'm selling that stuff and then I'm buying lots of Derek Jeter and I'm buying, you know, lots of Brady and, you know, things like that um, you know, are kind of a step up, right? So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I think it's good. I think I'm in a good spot, and I liked making the video. I think it was good to sort of put it out there and um, get some feedback on it and things like that. And it's interesting. You are going to watch the video, Charlie. You have to. So
I will watch it tomorrow.
it's a requirement of it's part of your co-hosting contract. But go read some of the comments because it's interesting. It's like, oh, I think you should open a second store. Oh, I think you should do the anchor store. Oh, I think you should start your own website. Like it's everybody's got a different idea. I was really surprised. I thought everybody would come in and be like, no, you're a low end seller. You got to stick with that. You know, like there'd be a real solid answer that everybody would get to, and they didn't. So it's kind of a neat experiment that way, just to see other perspectives and, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
well, we should get back to the chat before we get chats that say they know we're here, right?
yeah. Hey guys. Just real quick, don't forget we do have the Discord. You'll see the little stroller on the bottom there. Go check out our Discord. Maybe Charlie can get a link for us and throw it in there since he's our tech guru. And I do have a Patreon, so if you'd like some additional content from my channel, the video today was entirely free for everyone. I put the whole video out on YouTube, so there's nothing in the Patreon for that one. But I do throw some extra stuff on the Patreon. If you're looking to support the channel another way, you go on there, subscribe there, and you'll get a little extra tidbits from me that you don't see in the regular YouTube uploads. So Peter is here. Hi, Peter. We talked a little bit on the video today through comments. Can you share where you got the Elite card savers again, and what was the cost breakdown that you were able to get to? So Elite card savers, which is why I don't care if I have top loads right now, because I have a ton of the Elite card savers. I bought 2,000 of them. If you buy 1,000, you get them on eBay, by the way. Just look up Elite card savers or Elite card holders or something to that effect. And they sell them in packs of 1,000. And if you buy 1,000, it's $58, I want to say. And if you buy 2,000, it's $55 for each 1,000. Now, on top of that, you get 1,000 sleeves, free sleeves, for every 1,000 card savers you buy. So there's good value there too. I mean, those are $1 a pack, or at best, you know, cost is 50 cents a pack on the sleeves, and you need sleeves no matter what. So those you're going to buy until the day you pass away. So
I like sleeves, as Napoleon Dynamite would say.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I like your sleeves. I got to remember that. That's good. We got to use that. I'm going to say that at the show. And when somebody comes up with those stupid gamer sleeves, you know, with the cards in it, I'm like, yeah, I like your sleeves.
Or like thick vinyl ones.
Yeah, the vinyl ones with the color, the holograms on the back. Anyway, so my suggestion, or the way I did it, was I bought it 2,000 because why not? I'm going to take the discount. If you buy 3 packs, they're still $55. So I wasn't going to buy more than 2. It is free shipping. So for $110 or $111, whatever it came out to be, you get 2,000 card savers and 2,000 sleeves. So the way I looked at it, if you value the sleeves at $1 a pack, you're basically getting the card savers at a little less than 4.5 cents per card saver, which I haven't found any price better than that for brand new card savers. They're really nice quality. I've been using them for a while now. They stay together well. There's no splits in them. Like sometimes I'll get Ultra Pro and I'll have holders where they're not sealed on all the sides. Um, they're rigid enough. They're not real. They're not as rigid as like the BCW ones or the Beckett ones, and they're not quite as flimsy as some of like the like. I don't really like the cardboard gold ones that much. I think they're a little too flimsy for shipping purposes. Um, so they're great that way, nice and ultra clear. The sleeve slides in them pretty easily. They're the oversized or the grading size, so you can still fit 5, 6, 7 cards in there depending on what you're shipping.
Yeah,
easily. One of the things you want to know what's really funny? One of the things I like the most about these, Charlie. You'll never guess what.
What?
Okay, so I open a lot of packs of sleeves and holders, right? Because of how much I tip. Every company, you know what they do is they take half the pack and they turn it one way and they turn the other half the other way, right?
Yeah.
So if they pack even, drives me insane. Elite does not do that. Elite packs all of them in one direction. So I open the pack, I go, yep, where's the open side? This is the open side. There goes my stack. I can grab one, and every single one of them is facing the right way. It's all about that speed when you're doing that shipping. So
here's all I would add to that.
This one gang kept wanting me to join because I'm pretty good with the bow staff.
Pretty good with a bow staff. That's pretty awesome. You know, I haven't watched that movie in forever, and we were just talking about it the other day. I have to watch it. It's so good.
It is. It really is. I've got a couple of things here from that movie. In fact, my coaster is one of them here. I've got a couple of the collector's dolls and things like that. They're actually at my music stand where I have my guitar amp and all that stuff, and just up on a shelf. But they're fun to take out once in a while. I used to have this in the office.
I feel like, okay, so when that movie came out, it got so big for whatever reason. I mean, it was just dumb enough to be big, I guess. But it was everywhere, and we watched it all the time. And I'm like, I have had enough of this movie.
Yeah.
And I've had to put it away for a couple of years now, and now it's like I'm ready to experience that again. I think the time has come.
It simmer. It really grows.
Yeah. It's not like Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, a perfect movie where you could watch it, 3 times a week. It's the kind of thing where you need some time in between because it's so invasive. It's so earwormy. Like all you're going to be doing is saying the lines of that stupid movie for days. Vote for Pedro, and like there's all those things.
Rico.
Eat your tots.
Went back to the bow staff. I thought it was going to say, Tina, eat your ham.
Eat your tots. Tina, you fat lard. Some fajitas. Anyway. Yeah. I like your sleeves. Art Green is here. Welcome, Art.
Pretty much my favorite animal.
Pretty much my favorite. we both know I'm training to be a cage fighter. And then it was Lawanda, right? Wasn't Lawanda his girlfriend? Yeah.
Napoleon,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's whiny. Art Green says
his brother's name.
Yeah. I don't remember either. And the football player, right? He would throw the football.
Yeah, that was Uncle Rico. Yeah.
Uncle Rico, that's what it is. Rico. Yeah. All right. Art is responding here to Peter. I know they were on eBay. Not sure on cost breakdown. We'll leave that to you. Yep, we went over that. Hey, Dan, what's up, fellas? Sitting here opening up my 500 card whatnot order and enjoying the finds. Wow.
Nice. That takes some dedication. I mean, the streams I've been to buy 500 cards, that would have took me a while.
Yeah, no. That's too much time to invest for me. I'd rather just go to eBay and buy what I want. I got a really sweet Derek Jeter lot, in case you didn't know, of 560 cards. Guess how much I paid for that lot?
$13.50.
Now remember, it's it's not junk. It's all stuff like this and
Yeah.
minis and even the
I mean,
base
it's
is
Derek Jeter. How good can
the
it
base
be?
is shiny. Oh, by the way, they're all unique cards, no doubles, which also kind of matters. But a lot of here's some gold label and some Topps Chrome inserts.
How much was it?
Pros and prospects, $227.
Oh, okay.
So about
And how many
40,
cards?
about 40 cents a card, which is that's like stealing it in my opinion. I mean, this will be $8 to $10, you know. And rookies, tons of rookies with parallels, some minor league cards, like straight money. So, all right. Robert has joined us. He says, I would say my big sellers are Bo, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Sanders, and I do sell quite a few Derek Jeters.
The goats, right?
Yep, those are all on my list too. Matt says scans should just be counted against your totals when they go to a successful listing. That's garbage. 1,000% agree. That was really bugging me today when I'm like, I gotta ditch this whole file and I still counts in my scans. So I might have a conversation with Alex about that and see if that's something they can review a bit on how that would work. Or maybe they would give you like, since that's kind of how their system is set up to track, you know, when you're using the program, maybe they could give you like a certain number you could dump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For free kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because I do kind of see their point in that part of the service they're providing is the matching in the database. And someone could just say, oh, instead of looking it up, I'm just going to put it in Car Dealer Pro, but then I'm not going to list it from there because I got all the info I need that I can just list on my own.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It feels like when their software is the one that screwed it up. There should be a way out.
There should be a get
You
out
know,
of jail free card.
or I accidentally, didn't click on one of the photos when I was uploading them, and now boom, my whole batch is trashed and it counts against me. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Robert says on Car Dealer Pro, I've been trying to think, is there any reason to keep your batches after you've put them on eBay?
Not really.
For me, no. I don't use anything with it.
I typically hold on to my batches for the day. I will switch them to closed after I upload. And then at the start of the next day, I delete all the old ones out from the previous day.
Well, I know some people want to keep them as like an accounting function. So like when you go to list a batch, you can put in there what you paid for that batch.
True, yeah.
So if you want to do that and then track it against your sales, or that's just way too much data and work and spreadsheety crap for me to participate in. So.
And they're working on inventory functions, so I'll bet you the batches will have to be tied to the inventory.
If that's what you want to do with it, yes.
Yeah.
Matt says Minneapolis 4-day starts tomorrow. Madison doubles up with Green Bay. Yep. I wonder how much that'll affect that show. That'll be interesting to see tomorrow or Saturday.
Are you going to Minneapolis?
No. I mean, with Madison and Green Bay at the same time. That's never happened before.
Max, MG Sports here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it Max? I thought it was Matt.
I thought it was Max.
Oh, well, sorry. If I've been calling you Matt, I apologize.
or if I'm wrong, set me straight. I'm sure we'll see you.
Right. Exactly. Yep, Minnesota card shows. Stevens Point and Appleton were last weekend. Yep. Adam, I know you were contemplating 6K listings. No, 60K listings. How many cards in your inventory haven't you listed that you would consider putting on eBay? I'm trying to put all of them on eBay. But I had a ton before I started doing any of this, and I get bored, so I buy stuff and list stuff. And there's different things that I want to keep an inventory of, so some things jump to the front of the line.
Yeah, Adam really doesn't rip wax, and I think that's where you end up with the most inventory that you really aren't going to put on eBay. I still rip more wax than Adam, I think. I mean, folks saw me rip some stuff on the show last week. Honestly, on a lot of that stuff, if I buy a box of Topps flagship, I would say there's a good 30% of that box that I'm never going to list, and it's going to go right into a box someplace, if not more.
Yeah, and that's what I like about doing a show once in a while. I've got my dime boxes, and it's just a great way to just dump the stuff that I don't want to list on eBay or can't list on eBay. Usually make a few bucks on it. I always cover the table no matter what fee. So usually come away with a couple $100, and I get rid of some stuff that I'm just not going to list. So it kind of gives me the out to still be able to move some cards. And I got a big, Charlie, you know this. Every year I buy a lot of like Chrome baseball.
Yeah.
So I got a lot. Actually, I bought them from a viewer. And there's a bunch of really good stuff in there. So I've got a ton of stuff to list, but this is all the stuff that is probably not going to be listable. And I sold down my dime boxes so far in this last show, plus the stuff I picked out of it. This is going to fill those up. And maybe somebody will get a good deal. Maybe there is a $2 card in here that someone's going to get for a dime. I don't really care. Good on them. Just like when I buy out of a dime box and the dealer doesn't care, I feel the same way.
That's a good call. If you're buying a sizable lot, and I'm talking hundreds of cards in a lot, it's probably going to be similar to buying a hobby box and ripping it, where you're going to have 30% or more that aren't going to be the cards you're going to list.
Right. Yeah, and that box was $15, and it's like 900 cards. So for me, it was a no-brainer. And good vets in there too. I got some Bryce Harper and some Jeter and some Albert Pujols and some Trout and stuff like that. Those I will definitely be listing. And there's some of the Chrome rookies and that kind of stuff. But the rest is just going to end up in the dime box, and I'm okay with that. And like I said, I paid $15, so even if I sell a couple of cards out of there, I'm ahead. I got to adopt a mindset that you can't buy everything. Oh yeah, I'm well aware of that. I've had that mindset forever. Especially like I said, I can't just buy. I have to sell. I need a paycheck. So. Let's see. Good evening, guys. I gotta admit, I skipped the sales parts of the video. Short attention span here, and that's fine. Not a problem. I usually just do one sale in between each sort of nugget of wisdom that I feel like. So it's just a small break, and I think it just kind of keeps the video from just being, well, I could do this, and then I could do this, and then I could do this, or you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. I don't want it to be a lecture. I want it to be kind of fun and just have something else thrown into it. So, but yeah, that's the beauty of streaming. You can watch whatever you want. You can skip all those parts. You can go back and watch it later. Whatever. I do get a lot of feedback where people like the sales, so I try to keep that stuff in too. Logical Collectibles is here. What's up, guys? Joined the Discord the other day. Haven't chatted yet though. Love the community. Awesome. Happy to have you with us. Trying to think of who you are. Maybe shout your name in here.
On Discord?
Yeah, because I think I talked to this person outside of Discord, but by a human name. So
a human name.
Well, instead of an avatar name or whatever. Right. I think the benefit of getting more mid-end cards into your store, it helps get more eyes in the store and probably help you move more low-end items as well. Exactly. Yes. It would be a cross-sale point. And like Charlie said, which is a point I was thinking of too, this is the kind of card that someone will come into my store to want to buy, right? Not necessarily a 1998 score base Derek Jeter, but they need this card, and maybe they need the 98 score too, so they go, okay, well, I'll buy these 3 cards or whatever, since I'm buying this card. Right? So the mid-end helps you sell the low-end, and vice versa to some degree. That's kind of how I see it. When I always think about what would I want? I'm the shopper, and I'm looking for Derek Jeter cards. I've got 5,000 unique copies of his different cards, but I have these few that I still need. Oh, I really need that Topps Chrome insert. It's a cool looking card, but I still need the 98 score and the 92, well, 92 is a bad example. I was pre-rookie. 97 tops, right? Okay, great. I found my Chrome card I need. He's got those other two. I'll throw them in there. Oh, it's only two more for the coupon. Okay, I also need the 99 clear and maybe a couple other ones. Throw those in there. This was the one that got me to make the purchase, but I was able to pick up some other cards that I needed too, and then save some money on the bulk. That's the goal. That's my whole target of what I'm trying to do with my store.
Right.
Not at a discount per card. I charge retail or above per card, but then I'm willing to pass some of those savings on to you when you're buying the multiples.
Right.
So, Weston says sometimes when I dig through $5 boxes, I find cards that sell for $5 on eBay. You definitely have to know what you're looking for, and you'll shoot yourself in the foot.
True.
Yeah, and that's the same for even buying quarter cards. There's cards that just don't really sell, and like I said earlier, I've been doing this long enough, and it's not like I never buy mid-end. I buy $10 and $20 cards, when I see there's value there. But yeah, and I guess I still look at it as a numbers game, right? So let's say I go up to, plus I always get a discount. So I'm not actually paying $5 for that $5 card, right? So I'm going to go in, I'm still going to do a bulk buy, maybe not as big a bulk as dime cards where I fill up 1,000 count box, but I still might buy 30, 40, $5 cards, right? So I'm going to go up and say, okay, well, this is $120 in cards. I'll give you $100 for it, $90 for it, whatever it is. So immediately off the bat, even if that card sells for $5 on eBay, well, now I bought it for $3. So I can still do break even at worst if I sell that card for $5 on eBay. But that being said, I also got all those other cards for $3. And those other cards, I did get correct, and they're $10, $15, $12, $9, whatever. And I'm making profit on all of those. So yeah, you have to kind of take your break evens or even some loss here or there as just part of business,
It's not so much, what's the price point on the box, but where the skill comes in this thing is being able to spot where there's value, regardless of what price point it's at.
Right, exactly.
You want to find cards that you believe there's meat on the bone yet, and you believe there's a buyer market out there willing to pay more than what that dealer's going to part with it for, or mitigate risk and say, I know at the very worst, I'll get my money back on this. So that can happen at any price point in the show. So yeah, I mean, Weston, you're right. You can be wrong, but you're looking to build those skills to be right more often than you're wrong when you spot those. And it's practice, right?
And that's why I still, we're talking about this, moving to mid-end and blah, blah, blah. I would not suggest that for somebody starting out. I still think the low-end game is the way to get in, and your mistakes aren't going to be very costly. Capital-wise, you don't have to, run up a credit card to get in, to buying some cards and get some sales. And that experience, you can't trade that experience. There's no one who can, we do our best on this show to try to help, anybody new with kind of how to get in and what to look to buy and what to look to sell and things like that. But it's still, we're not there with you when you're digging through that box and you need to make those decisions. So that experience is going to matter. And I think you really need that before you start playing a more mid-end game at volume where you're trying to, run a business with it. Weston says that you could try to condense your duplicate cards into one quantity listing to lower your listing count. I do that already. And I have some pretty big quantity listings. And it's easier to get sales because you get that one sale, you start hitting that algorithm, and boom, 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 you'll get a bunch of multiple sales.
Yeah, the exception is the more vintage cards because condition varies so much.
Right. Yep.
We'll typically list those all individually.
Yeah. And honestly, it doesn't move unless you have a large quantity of a single card, it doesn't move the needle that much on your listings because, okay, so I sell 4 vintage cards. Well, that's 4 listings I get back. Versus if I had them all 4 under one listing, great, that only counted as one listing, but it's going to take me might take me a long time to sell all 4 before I get that listing back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's a discussion more for folks that are near the cutoff points.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you have 45 copies of a card, yeah, you don't want to list all those individually. That's 45 listings, right? But if you have 3 copies of a card, once, when you sell 1 or 2, you're going to get those 2 listings back right away, and it's not really that big a deal. So, all right, Peter says he has 4,400 listings and found that I now have 1,400 listings with a SKU since 1/1 of 24. So that means I've got 3/4 of my inventory that is older than 3 months. Time to slash some prices and move cards. Yeah, you sure can. I mean, I don't have dates for my older inventory, just when I started doing the baggies and dates. But I don't know.
3 months is that old though.
I didn't want to say that, Charlie, because I feel like he's got a plan, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. I would say when you start getting to that like 9 months to a year, that's when it starts feeling too old, and you want to do something with it.
Yeah.
You might even just try a simple solution up front and just do some end listings, sell similar. You might be able to move some of those older ones just doing that and still get your asking price. $1 box store and a $5 box store. You know what I'll do?
I like it, Joe.
Yeah, it's funny. I call it the dollar box store, and everything's $1.99, just like the actual dollar store, right?
Yeah.
What a
inflation, man.
What a scam that place is.
The dollar box name was more about where you're sourcing the cards than selling
Correct.
them, right?
It is. Yes, of course. Of course. Makes sense that, this is from MI3 Cards. Thanks for joining us tonight. Makes sense that people would buy Marvel and Jeter cards. They are both fantasy and not really as good as some people think.
Love it. We got to favorite that one.
I already deleted it. It's done. Separate stores, I think, is the biggest hang up. All the branding, feedback, customer base essentially starts again at the ground floor. Jump in price versus benefit from premium to anchor is the benefit from premium to anchor is not, I think is what he meant to say.
Yeah.
True. I do already have a second eBay account with like 1,000 feedback, so I'm kind of in a decent spot to build a second something. But yeah, it doesn't sound fun. Sounds like a lot of work to just kind of run parallel to what I'm already doing and kind of compete with myself. If I list this card, I got this copy of this card and I list it in my current store, and then I get another copy of it and I list it in my other store. Now I'm paying promotions to get a sale, and I'm another guy with that, I don't know. It'd be pretty tough to keep track of, okay, well, this card I have in my other store, I got to list it there. I can't list it in this one, So yeah, at least splitting them into something that would make sense, a non-sport sport or mid-end, low-end, whatever, and decide what a dollar mark would be for what is mid-end and what is low-end, I don't know.
So now I'm wondering, in a battle between your store and your store, who would win?
Nobody. I would lose.
That's probably the right answer.
I would lose. It would cost me more to compete with myself or something like that. So anyway, doesn't seem worth it to become an anchor store. There must be something else to it. Do they promote the larger stores above smaller stores like mine? That may be. They don't give away their secrets on all that. The thing is they give you 15,000 more listings where we're like, oh, that's not very many, but that's because we sell in the card category. You have to remember that eBay is for everything, and people don't, outside the card category, you don't get 60,000 listings. You only get 10,000 in the premium store. So you go from 10,000 to 25,000 in the anchor. So if you're selling shoes, an extra 15,000 listings, $300 is no big deal, right? You might be charging $300 per pair of shoes, if you're reselling Jordans or something.
True.
So it's relative. So yeah, I have this opinion on listing fees, and I talked about this in the last video that I made. And I don't understand why they charge at all. Just let people list. You get paid with the promotions and the selling. The more people that list, the more people will promote, the more the percentage would go up, the more you'd make, blah, blah, blah. And you'd get all this, eBay would have the complete corner on the entire market because you could sell there for free, other than the back end. So I don't understand a listing limit. It makes no sense at all to me. Or at least have a store level where there is no limit. Like, okay, great, you go up to the $300, store level, but you have no limit then. You're considered a big store. You're selling a ton. You're not going to pay $300 a month if you're selling 2 cards. So you're selling a lot of cards. You're going to pump all these other cards into the store, and you're Burbank sports cards, and you want to list 1 million cards. Well, you don't pay a nickel a piece for that. What are you, nuts? So it just doesn't. I don't get it. I don't understand the listing fee thing at all. Drop it to a penny or whatever. But if eBay ever cared about what something I had to say, that would probably be my biggest thing. I don't understand how that fits into your business model. Back in the day, I get it. Like when I first started on eBay, it mattered. They only had so much storage, and storage was expensive, and computers couldn't hold much, and blah blah blah. They can hold trillions and trillions and trillions. And now they run their own servers. That was part of the problems we were having this past summer. They were moving to all their own computers. So they have all these trillions of gigs of storage that they can put your stupid listing and your photo on there. That it doesn't take up any room, and it doesn't matter. And that only has to stay there until the damn thing sells anyway. So don't get it. I would just tell everybody, list all you want, have at it,
Perhaps the variety of different products being sold and the different types of sellers is precisely why they have that listing fee, to make sure that in each category they have a way to capture things accordingly. I don't know, I'm just spitballing there, because I tend to agree with you on that, but maybe there's other sales categories, people selling different things, where it doesn't work like cards, and that's where they get their money back, or their fees in.
And the thing is, that's the other thing that doesn't make sense. So let's say you're selling real estate, right? Well, how many listings do you need for free? Like 10? I mean, how many pieces of property you can sell? Let's say you're selling, I don't know. So when you get to the higher end items, it makes even less sense, because you're not going to have these large volumes of listings anyway. So why are you charging somebody 10 cents to put it on there? I don't know. I don't get it. They've done a good job with the, and you guys may not realize this, but we didn't get that additional 50,000 listings until just 2 years ago. It was right before Standard Envelope came out. We only had 10,000 listings. So to run a store as a full-time business on eBay selling low-end cards wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Without having all those extra fees. And then during COVID, right at a few months into COVID, they came out and they're like, hey, we're going to give you 50,000 extra listings this month. And I was like, what? 50 grand? And then I'm like, oh, they're going to pull the plug on this. And then it was like the next month, oh, we give you 50,000 listings. Oh, we give you 50, because, you have to renew those listings every month.
Yeah.
And it's just stayed. Now, could they take that away at some point? They could. And then I would have to leave and do something else. But I think that was kind of their test of the model, to be like, okay, if we do this, if we give all these listings to these people for free, are they going to take the time and the money and the effort to build a business on eBay selling these cards. You're damn right they are. Look at how many that, the card selling is their biggest category on eBay. It would not be without 60,000 free listings. So just give us, and to your point, Charlie, you're right. There's other things that sell on eBay. Well, fine. Don't give those categories free listings.
Yeah. One thing
Give
I'm reminded
unlimited free listings to stamp sellers and coin sellers and card sellers. Where you need the volume of listings to be able to operate.
I remember us saying this quite a while ago. We were having a discussion about this, I think offline, and I think you brought up the possibility that one of the reasons they have a listing fee is to prevent people from just listing all kinds of junk. Like, oh, I've got one sock that I don't have a match for. I'm going to list one sock out there. If there is some type of cost associated with listings, I think it holds people accountable to say, I'm not going to use these frivolously.
And that may be true.
Because there's infrastructure costs to maintain all this.
I know, but they have to pay for that whether they have listings on that machine or not. I don't know how many people are going to take that one sock and go through all the effort of listing it on eBay.
You would be surprised.
Like just to get away with it because it didn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
And you know what? Hell, they listed on there and somebody else was like, dude, I need that other sock. Yeah, I got the other sock out of that guy's dryer the other day and now I need that one, and they buy it.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. I have a buddy with one leg. He said, I can't go on eBay and buy one shoe. You have to sell them in pairs.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't need a freaking left shoe. I need a right shoe.
Yeah.
So they have special websites where he can go and buy right shoes. Like, so it's kind of funny that you mentioned sock because I'm thinking, well, geez, yeah, somebody needs one shoe though. That happens.
Yeah.
Or let's say you've got a really nice pair of Jordan shoes, right? And something happens to what the dog chews up the one shoe, but your left shoe is in great shape. Well, maybe I could find the right shoe in my size and pay, $20 for it instead of paying $100 for a whole brand new pair. Yeah, I mean, I think for certain categories, they need to just list everything, whatever you want. Who is going to go on there? And it takes work to list something on eBay. You have to have a photo. You got to put in look at all the fields you got to fill in. I just went over this if in my What If I Was CEO thing.
Yeah.
That there's barriers to listing something, a good chunk of them. I don't know that just because they dropped it from 5 cents to free that somebody's going to be listing random socks. I don't buy that. And what if they do and they sell? Then where's the harm? If you're listing it and it sells, you're still responsible to ship that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, they boot you out. Well, great. Now you weeded out somebody who you don't want on your platform anyway. That still has value.
True.
And if you really wanted to sell that sock and you were really trying to be a screwball, you could pay the damn 5 cents and list it.
Honestly, that's what Facebook Marketplace is for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I don't know. I'm really, yeah. Anyway, that's maybe a whole other show. We'll see. Let's see. I'd assume Merle, unless you pay the Empire their promotion tax. Yeah, that's probably part of it. But that's the other reason why I think that they should give you free listings, because it would actually help their promotions program. Because you would potentially have more competition, you have more people paying for position because they don't have to pay for that up front. It just comes out of the back end, and boom, that's where they make their money, is on that closing fee and the promotion costs. So the 5 cent listing doesn't really hold up. Back in the day when they could only charge 5% for your sale, and they didn't get any of the finance fees because everybody sent money orders and cash, and they didn't charge any promotions. Okay, then I got it. The listing, that it was expensive for all this computer storage. Computers couldn't store the trillions of information that they can now. That made sense. Now it's time to let that go because it doesn't really figure into. It's prohibitive, I believe, to your business, the growth of your business. Brevins Cards is here. Welcome. He wants to know if I have a sports shop. I think you're asking me. I do not. MD, you weren't there. I don't know what that means.
I think they were talking about the card shows last weekend at.
Oh, the card shows.
Yeah.
Right, Max. There has to be more benefit from becoming an anchor. Yeah. See, I struggle with moving to the anchor. It doesn't seem to be that worth it. I'd rather adjust my store and try to fit into that 60,000 listings. A little bit better. Trading up, as Charlie said. I like that as the way to put it. So to that point, Adam, and you as well, Charlie, with the scanner, are you seeing direct comparisons on your level of sales versus, let's say, 6 months ago when Charlie had 1,500 listings and you were at 30K? Yes and no. It's kind of hard because some of it's still cyclical, and I don't list as much baseball and basketball as I do other things, and that's kind of what are the big sellers right now. Now, that being said, if I compare it to this time last year, is a better way to compare it. Yeah, I'm up scads, like thousands a month in sales. So, yeah, it's definitely moved the needle. Now, the scanner itself and Car Dealer itself hasn't done that other than it helped me get more listings on. It's just consistently, running a good business, having good inventory, listing, selling, shipping, so on. You don't have to have a scanner to be able to do that. It just makes it a little quicker.
But if the question is, do we feel we have seen value out of incorporating the scanner and Card Dealer Pro, I would say unequivocally yes. So I have seen, you have to remember there's more than just sales involved in that decision. So on the sales end, I have seen my daily average sales go up, which is a direct coefficient or a correlation with the number of listings. I always say I figure there's about 10% of my listings in active view circulation every day that are like at somebody's fingertips. They're thinking about buying, right? Because those are the cards that I get to send offers on. Those are cards I sell. Like those go up as 10% of my overall listings. It's unrealistic to think every one of your cards is right at somebody's fingertips all the time, right? Because we're all competing in those marketplaces. But I truly believe that a good 10% are always hot, I guess I would say it, with the Google leads and stuff like that. Now, so there's that correlation of increased sales with the number of listings. But when I say there's more than just sales to think about with that decision, there is the experience as a seller and your balancing of your personal requirements in your life. And what I would say is don't just look at sales, look at the efficiencies that those systems give you. How much more time can you spend with your family now because you're getting the same or more cards out with less effort? For me, that was a big thing. I can take a night here and there and just sit on the couch with my wife because she's watching American Idol and not list without feeling, holy crap, fear of missing out. I should be listing right now. Because with the scanner and Card Dealer Pro, I can more easily maintain a steady pace with where I want to be and afford to take some time off.
Yeah, precisely. It frees me up to do other things. I've had a lot of inventory stuff that I've corrected. I've got stuff put away that I wasn't able to get put away before because I'm going to be moving out of here soon. More videos, whatever. More shopping time to buy more, look for more stuff more inventory, things like that. And of course, yeah, more time with family, taking afternoons off to go do stuff. My daughter recently had spring break. I was able to spend more time with her. So yeah, it's definitely something that it gives you something that you can't get without it.
And I would say working part-time at cards, time is my most valuable asset. So,
yeah, for sure.
It's very heavily weighed into the decision on, is there an acceptable return on sales from this investment? But just as big was, how much time is it going to save me? You know, because I work my 9 to 5 in the office. As most of you know that watch us for a while, I coach football in the fall. I've got a lot of competing pressures for my time, and the Scanner and Car Dealer Pro really helped me balance all that while still growing the business.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Let's see. Weston, was that you that made a video on showing how to change quantities on the CDP spreadsheet? No, haha, but not a bad idea. So what I do with that?
One of mine.
Yeah, and I don't get a lot of, like this was all unique cards, so I'm not going to have quantities of any of this, but let's say I've got 10 of these cards. I'll just list one on Card Dealer Pro, and then I go to my listing in eBay and I just change the quantity to 10. So
Yeah.
I don't have enough each time where I feel like I need to dig into the spreadsheet and modify it. I just leave the quantity as at 1. I would think maybe at some point they'll have a quantity field that would make some sense, but
yeah, I'm
I think
surprised it's not in the overview, or what's the other view you get, Navigator or something like that.
yeah.
But I do use it all the time on the actual spreadsheet that's generated. There is a column in there for quantity.
Yep. Yeah, so either way is fine. I find it just as easy to just download the spreadsheet, upload it, and then I go change it in eBay. It takes me 10 seconds to do it. Sometimes I like doing that too because I just like to go double check that my upload worked and things look right. So, like I said, I do batches of basically 40 or 50 cards at a time. So I might have 1 or 2 cards that's a duplicate. I'll toss that out as the duplicates out aside, do my scanning, I'll list, get those in the bag, and then I'll just take my duplicates and I just punch it in. It comes up right away because I just do my newest listing. So even if I had more than one of these listed, I just do the newest listing and it'll show up first. And then it's pretty simple. You click on the box and change it to 2 or 3 or whatever you got. But yeah, you can certainly just go to the CSV before you download it and change it.
And I do it on the CSV because then I can adjust my search and my listings for bulk quantities, anything more than one. And then I bulk edit the promo on all of them at once.
Right. All right. I wasn't where. Join our Discord. There's our Discord code. We might be a little bit behind.
Yeah, a little bit.
I always thought it was best to have low, medium, and high end in the store, along with singles and lots. The more variety, the better. Yeah, and I definitely have some high end, like high end stuff in there, and I have some $20 cards and $40 cards and $50 cards. Some of them I got out of quarter boxes, believe it or not. But just more of the focus is kind of what we're referring to. Instead of constantly looking in the dime and quarter boxes for the $2 cards, start looking in the $2 to $5 boxes for the $7 and $10 cards. So
we are not looking to be Jeff Wilson, though. We are low end sellers.
That guy buying like the bulk dollar boxes at the show.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just can't with that guy.
Buying out $2,000-$3,000 boxes of low end cards.
No, he's just get out of our lane. Just go do your color 101 Desmond Ritter cards and leave us alone. I was excited to go to the Minnesota card show this weekend. Wanted to get Mike Tyson to sign a cool card. Saw how expensive it was, and I thought, okay. Read the fine print, and it says he won't sign cards.
Oh.
I wonder why.
He'll sign everything else?
Well, I've heard that from some. That was like a thing with some athletes for a while because people were just getting them signed and reselling them. Where like that's a much easier flip than like getting an 8x10 signed and trying to sell it. But yeah, I don't know. Love Napoleon Dynamite. I bet I could throw a football over the mountains. Yeah, exactly. Charlie, I see you're drinking 2%. Is that because you think you're fat? Well, you're not. You could be drinking whole if you wanted to. Wow.
So smooth.
Yeah. Ladies, man. Back in 82.
Yep. Uncle Rico.
Brandon is here. He says, I can finally catch some of Alive, Mick Thor in Discord. Welcome. Glad you can make it.
Yeah. I'm
waiting on Card Dealer Pro to add a quantity portion instead of having to update in the CSV. Yeah, that I venture. I know that's on the list of suggestions, so we'll see when that comes. That's why I'm not
Adam. Talk to Alex.
Yeah, that's why I don't bug too much on going into the spreadsheet. I just change it on eBay because I know eventually it's just going to be right in the program. Keep the batches. It saved my butt several times when I misplaced a card, believe it or not. Interesting. Or maybe I'm the only one that misplaces his cards.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
So I was on the hunt for a couple of things this past week from my listing table, and I'm happy to let you know, Adam, I found the Green Ranger this morning.
Well, you lost a whole bag of Garbage Pail Kids stickers too a couple weeks ago.
Garbage Pail Kids that I had listed, and then I was in the process of listing the Green Ranger, and before I hit finish or done, I went to grab the card, and it was nowhere to be found. All of them ended up back in bags in my listing piles, as I must have been, interrupted before I finished the process or something, and moved everything back to the side, and there they were.
And that's why I do grab a 50, scan it, list it, bag it, put it away. I never have that problem, so. I mean, but Derek Jeter, so,
Derek Jeter.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
All right. I rip every Average Dave's cards this year. Come on. There we go. I rip every once in a while, too. Sport Lots is great for bulk commons.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've thought about sending some stuff to Sport Lots. I don't know. I sell on... Oh, I'm Cephal on Discord. That's it. Yeah, CFL. Awesome. Glad you could join us here. MD, you weren't at the April 14th card show. What about selling on Facebook Marketplace? Stuff that I can't list, I put in a lot, and someone comes and buys them for 50 to 100 for a 5,000 count box. Okay, great way to get rid of stuff you don't want. I never have that kind of quantity, so I don't. I target buy my stuff. I don't buy big boxes of commons and then just try to reflip them. The stuff I have 4 or 5 monster boxes for my 10-cent boxes for the show, and I bring them to shows, and that's it. I don't want people coming to my house and having 5,000 count boxes everywhere of a bunch of junk that doesn't sell. And nothing wrong with it. I'm not against it. It's just not me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. I'm not a huge fan of Facebook Marketplace, but depending on, if I start to get backed up on inventory I'm not going to put on eBay, I might try it sometime.
Sure. And what I find on Facebook Marketplace is just that. It's I've got 5,000 1991, Fleer baseball commons, $50. I don't know. So maybe that's the right place to do that, since there's so many sellers on there that have that kind of stuff available.
Yeah.
I don't have that stuff, so I have no reason to be on there and do that. Frank is here. How long do you wait after you list? Do you send or entertain offers? Like that. I'll take an offer within 5 minutes if need be. Doesn't mean I'm going to sell it for what they offer, but I will definitely entertain any offer at any time. And I will send offers as soon as I get the person visited your page, eligible to send an offer. I send offers. I was just telling Charlie this past week. I used to obviously I've changed this now. I'd go into everyone I could send and look at each one individually and send an offer. Because I was trying to follow trends, like, well, what are people clicking on and not buying? And, I have way too much now. I'll have, within a half hour, I'll have 15 to 20 of those that I got to send, like, all day long. So sometimes I'm sending 30, 40, 50 of them at a time, and I'm not going to go through those one by one. That'd just be way too much time. So now I just go click onto the send offers. I do a percentage. Generally, it's 10%. I click on the coupon, add a coupon to send with it, and then boom, send those offers all at one time. But as far as how long do I wait to send it, I don't. As soon as somebody's interested in it, I want to get a sale.
Yeah, so I'm a little different that way. I will entertain offers initiated by a buyer right away, but I typically do not send offers as a seller the same day I list. I usually try to wait till the next morning when I wake up to see if I get someone coming in that buys it for full price before I start sending offers.
Yeah, I guess I look at it like 10% is not really much, especially if I can do it not promoted. And when I got somebody on the trail of what I've got, I want to get it sold. Now, I would say that I would do it differently. I would do it your way if I was listing like a brand new release, right? Let's say you're listing your 2024 tops when it came out that day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't send out offers right away because you're looking for that early bird money. You want, whoever's just going to jump on and buy.
Right.
So it really depends a little bit, I think, on what you're listing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Or let's say, this past week you were listing Caitlin Clark stuff because she was going to be in the finale, and then she was going to be the number 1 draft pick and blah, blah, blah. Well, you might not want to take an offer right then. You might want to wait until those things are happening and more people get on and will pay full price.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, that could work against you too. So now you do that, it goes through all that, you don't get a buyer. Now no one cares about Caitlin Clark cards, and now you got to take a lower offer in order to sell it. So it's there's pluses and minuses to however you do it. I just want to make a sale. I just want to make a sale on a card and I want to move on. To me, it's in and it's out. I want that volume, and that pays all the bills no matter what. I'm going to make a profit on it no matter what. So I'm okay with, throwing a discount out there if it gets it sold. Just buy a bigger store. Problem solved. So easy for Mr. Bargain Boxer. Do you think every day is, do you think, this is from Kelly Collectibles, do you think listing every day is important for the algorithm? Yeah, 1,000%.
One of the biggest things, in my opinion.
Yep. I list every single day. Sometimes not a lot, especially on big order days, but at least try to get, a small stack on there. And then try to do some listings and send some, sell similar, especially on those days where I'm not listing much new stuff. Okay. He was at the show, due for third dealer for setup and last one to tear down. Oh. Average Dave's card says, do you feel like there's a sweet spot for a new store level for you? 60,000 listings to the next level feels like a huge jump. Well, the reason I say 60,000 is because that's how many they give you. Like I didn't arbitrarily choose that number. So I don't see why I would start a new store until I hit 60,000. There would be no benefit to do that, really. So I would hold out until then. But if that's what I decide to do, but I really think I'm just going to adjust my store and make it into the next level of profitability and growth. Am I reading that right, Charlie?
I think so.
Okay. All right. About to list 4K modern and Magic the Gathering just to hopefully get my listing limit raised to scale this up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Magic the Gathering, but I know there's definitely a fan base and a collector base for that. I mean, go for it. Get them listed. If you've got 4,000 free listings to do, why not? And I think that happens a lot when people start. You just kind of list everything because why not? And then, like I said, I'm at 40,000. Then you start to go, do I really want to list this, 6th-year Alex Bregman top space card? Maybe I'll get a buyer. There might be some garbage can banging fans out there. I don't know, but yeah. So decisions. Hence why I made the video. Okay, so this was one of the platforms I was considering. Johnny says Mercari has free listings and no final value fee with no limits on how much you can list. No, it's not as big as eBay, but I do okay there for only 500 to 600 listings. That is one of my other serious considerations as well, because I found that I can actually import my eBay inventory to Mercari. So I wouldn't have to go list them all. And that's appealing to me with how many listings I have. Mercari has changed the way they do things, and all the fees are passed to the buyer instead of the seller. But you basically got to sell your cards cheaper. So it doesn't. I mean, you can't really save on fees. People know what fees are, and they just build them in. Like, let's say, Charlie, let's say I was going to get tickets to a Guns N' Roses show, right? And I look up the show and it says tickets are $150. What are you thinking? What do you think in your head when I say that?
What do I think when you say that? That they're $150?
Yeah,
Well, how many fees are on it?
Exactly, because we know that a ticket isn't actually $150. It's going to be $185, right?
Yeah. With
venue fee and the tax and the tourism charge and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Let's say you're going to a hotel, right? And the hotel says $169 a night. Yeah. When you go to check out, what are you expecting to pay? $169?
$225.
Ooh. Yeah,
well,
if you're in
mini bar charges.
In California. So I don't know that it really matters who pays it. You're going to be paying it one way or the other. It's got to come out of the middle regardless. So your buyer wants to pay this, you want to sell for this. Everybody's giving up something in that middle to make the transaction happen. That's why we should all just use Bitcoin and be done with it. You don't have to trust anybody in the middle.
Nice.
We can all just send Bitcoin back and forth. No trust required, because you don't get paid if I don't get my item. Pretty simple. And you can't have your money back if the item isn't received.
Where's Low Roller Scratcher?
Don't think he is on this channel. Spinning up another server isn't free for eBay, though.
Yeah.
Right, but just because I'm adding another 20 listings, I don't think they need to spin up a whole server for that. I would imagine one of those servers can handle 6 trillion listings or something. So that was my point. The storage is not like once was. You get so much more of it now. Roadkill Games, eBay arrows. I don't know what that means. You should look into District. Ooh, that's on my list. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Great. Huh?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned it on our live show last week, but yeah, great platform that is based on communities for selling. Yeah, so it's kind of like our Discord, but you're doing sales. So like you'd have a sales channel for Derek Jeter, right? And then you'd list your Derek Jeter stuff, and then there's like live chat stuff on there you can do with the customers and things like that.
So that sounds
a little bit more
like groups.
Yeah, it's more like social media selling.
Yeah.
Let's see. When the first card of quantity listing sells, I start seeing the money signs. Exactly. Tyson may have an exclusive contract with Leaf. Oh, that could be. There's lots of guys are picky with. Let's see. There's lots of guys that are picky with certain items when you look into it. One of my favorites is McGuire. Won't sign anything with Canseco on it anymore. Interesting. Yep, exclusives are usually a big reason for many of restrictions. That makes sense. Tried Carter Pro and didn't like it, surprisingly. No, that's fine. There's definitely other programs out there. I don't know. It seemed when I looked at the 2.0, I don't know if you tried it when it was 2.0 or 1.0 because they made drastic improvements. When I started looking into 2.0, it was pretty solid program, so that's why I decided to go that route. And we were going to get a scanner, so why not? I mean, if you're going to have a scanner, you might as well have a listing program. It doesn't really make sense to have one without the other. Robert says, can you explain sell similar as a way to help move cards? So what I do is I used to do it every single day, but it doesn't always work out that way now. But every once in a while when I can, I will go on to my oldest listings and I will end them. I do them in batches of 200. I like my batches, okay? So I'll do my batches of 200 listings. I'll go to those ended listings and then I'll sell similar them. So you click on them, you do a bulk edit, you click on them and you do a sell similar. I keep all the details the same, the pictures the same, everything else, and then I just submit, and they basically get relisted as new listings for you. So it gets some fresh eyes on it. If you had sale, the one downside is if you did have a quantity listing and you had sales on a quantity, it does start over. So you wouldn't have that hit to the algorithm, that bonus from the algorithm for having a previous sale on a listing. But outside of that, it's a good way to get some old inventory back to
the trade-off to that, Adam, is I tend to believe that the algorithm ranks newer listings higher than aged listings. So
yes, it does. Yeah, correct.
I think you would get a trade-off from losing the I sold one card in the algorithm, here we go, to now I have a new algorithm. It's going to be boosted that way.
Well, and hopefully you get a sale soon on that, just from relisting it. So let's say you had 10 copies left and you relist it and you get a sale that day. Well, now you're kind of back into the net sales algorithm anyway, which is good. Because trust me, the algorithm works. I will have 20 copies of these cards and I won't sell any for 3 months, and then I'll sell 10 in a week. So it has to be pushed out once there's a sale. Has to be. Because I've had that happen hundreds of times. Because I sell a lot of quantity on certain things. Let's see. I think I'm going to space out my next CDP batch and have it list one card per day. That way my listing algorithm stays strong. Yeah, that's one way you could do it. I don't know anything about listing one card. I'm doing hundreds at a time, so it really all depends on what level you're at and what you're selling. So if you feel like that would work well for you, then great. I still think you're at least listing something, and that's a positive.
Yeah, it could be a good use case for the scheduled listings too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can tell it when you want it to list, right? So
set a date on when it goes live.
Mm-hmm. I'll still list other cards in the meantime, but for days I don't have the time, I'll always have one card being listed. Yeah, it makes some sense. Fees will always be shared no matter who actually pays them. 100% agree. Look at me and Max getting along tonight. We're all like...
Sometimes it must be the clips.
Yeah, it must be. I don't know. But yeah, we're all on the same page. It's pretty fun. Thrift Shop Hustler gave us a super chat. Thank you so much for the $3 donation. I appreciate it. And he says he really enjoys my videos. Thanks. You are welcome. Well, he says your videos. So he might mean your videos, Charlie.
And maybe. You have a lot more than me, though.
I do. Yeah,
Odds are in your favor. He's referring to your videos.
Yeah, I got a little bit more time in on this than you do. So, eBay greater is Zoomer speak for eBay is better than any other selling platform. Yeah, right, exactly. Pete Rose will sign anything. Oh, I'm to sign a
Literally
bingo.
anything.
Sign a bingo card. Something with betting, right? Have them sign your betting card. Hold on 1 second here. I've always got to do 2 things at once. Okay. Late to Scott is here. Welcome, Scott. Late to the party. What was that other envelope size you used for multiple cards? I'm starting to get multiple card orders more. So this is
6 by 9 or 6 by
6
8?
by 9. So this is the number 6. So this is your single card envelope or your 2 card envelope, 5 card envelope, whatever. This is a number 10, which is going to be your 2 card savers taped together. And then, yes, a 6 by 9 manila envelope, you can tape 3 card savers together. You can do like 15 to 17 cards, depending on what you sold, what types of cards you sold. It's great. I've been using it quite a bit. It's saving me a lot in shipping amounts. So, love that. Okay, so let's see. I would still list my less than $10 Pokemon Mujic stuff on TCG Player first, though. Too easy.
I like TCG Player. I think they do a good job there.
Yeah, I don't use that at all because I don't need to, but yeah, I've heard good things about it, so that makes sense. Wherever it's easiest and it actually sells, that's where you should put your stuff. Pretty simple answer. Does some sell similar, keep your custom SKU? Yes, it does.
Yep.
You're not changing any field. All it does is assign it a new item number and it throws it into the new listings queue or whatever profile on eBay.
And you have a quick, easy chance to do some bulk adjustments too, if you like.
Right. If you're into that sort of thing. I was thinking of running some auctions on some cards I have over $50. I don't get hit with the extra dynamic promotion rate. What do you think? Go for it, Ed. You think so? Excuse me. You can also promote an auction, just so you know. So if other people are auctioning the same card, they could be promoting and still be ahead of you. It's no guarantee that you're going to stay competitive without promotion.
Yeah, and typically your auction sales are going to go at a lower price point than your buy it nows.
Correct. And that's one of the reasons why eBay had the promotion fees, because they were actually not collecting as much money, because when people were auctioning, they were having a lot more listing and ending and listing and ending, right? Generating a lot of constant fees, versus everybody just uses them as a store now and sells buy it now. They're not getting as much churn. Which is ironic, because if they just gave us free listings, maybe they would get more of that. I don't know. I like free listings. I think it would be smart. I heard you say something about bulk buyers. I've seen that too. Guys coming in and buying whole tables or multiple dollar boxes. Too much for me, honestly. Yeah, I did it recently in Madison. If you can get the right stuff at the right price, yeah, it's totally worth it. I sold a ton of that non-sport stuff that I got in Madison. I sold the Beastie Boys card. I sold all the Grateful Dead Legends cards today. I sold some of the sticker cards. Sold a bunch of those Starline cards. Yeah, so it was worthwhile for me, and I basically got the non-sport stuff for free. So because I bought the soccer stuff. Sometimes it makes, to that end, sometimes it makes the buy worthwhile. Because I don't know that I would have bought that stuff if I couldn't have put it all together and get the price that I got it for. That's the key to bundling, is that it makes the purchase worthwhile for you, so that you can make a profit on it.
Right.
All right. I wish I had the time to work as much on eBay as I did with TCG. Would love to do bulk listing sports stuff. My house and 10 by 20 unit would love me if I started getting some crap out.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. It's trying not to sit on stuff too long. I really try to do that. Um, my office is an okay size. Well, Charlie's been in my office. There's enough stuff in there. Um, and I'm moving it. I just emptied a 5,000 count box, listed and sold. So, but you have to have new stuff too. Like you can't just list and sit. You have to get new stuff and keep. It's a grind business. It's just a grind. It's a grind type of thing. It's 10,000 cards in, 5,000 cards out generally when you're trying to grow. I hope to at some point get where I'm spending bigger money, but I'm getting less cards. So I'm hoping to get 500 cards in and 1,200 out, right? So I'm getting more out than in as I'm flipping over to some more mid-end stuff. That's kind of the not too distant future goals for me. Let's see. We got a couple more. No. One more? One more.
One more.
Scott says, does the non-sports work on Card Dealer Pro? Thought I heard you say no on one of your videos. It does not. You have to list them one by one, and that stinks. But they're also kind of fun to list because there's such variety. And honestly, I think the pictures are more interesting on a Star Wars card than another guy at the plate batting. So designs are pretty cool. There's lots of different inserts and types of sets and themes, and
Unless
so
you count
I don't
wrestling
mind.
as non-sport like I do, then you
Right.
could say there is one
Right.
non-sport category. In talking with Alex, they have a lot of requests for Star Wars, so I don't think that's too far away.
No, I fully believe that they're eventually going to have. I don't understand how hard it is to add like. Can't you just have it scrape eBay non-sport or Star Wars? Like, how is that harder than like scraping Derek Jeter info? Like,
Yeah, you should just be grabbing API data.
I would think so. So I'd be like, okay, well, put in Pokemon and scrape over whatever Pokemon info you have, and I don't know. But I am by no measure a computer science person, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I just don't see how. Like, I don't know how to do this, right? To scrape this, but I feel like once I scrape this, why can't I scrape this?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's to me. That's the part to me where I'm like, I don't understand what the hang up is. Just put them all in there and let it, because they're not holding that information. When you upload the card, it's just identifying it with previous sales with eBay. So it's still eBay's information that they're using. But yeah, if they could add some more non-sport stuff on there, that would be super, super nice for me.
It would.
But all right, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We're at about 2 hours and 23 minutes. We had a really good set of live viewers tonight. A lot of good chat, some good topics. At one point, we had 46 viewers at one time, which is awesome. We continue to see some growth on the live show. Don't forget to watch the regular videos. Join the Discord. Consider the Patreon membership down below to support the channel. Also, Charlie, of course, has his YouTube channel, JC3 Collectibles. So check that out. And we're live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. So be here or be square, right?
That's right. That's what they say.
So how do we got to end this show with a Napoleon Dynamite quote. Which one should we use?
Oh, man. There's so many. But I don't know that I remember one that was specifically about saying goodbye.
All right, let's take a look here.
Bye, Napoleon. I just remember Kip saying that. But that wasn't one of the witty little one-liners.
Let's see. How about we end it with this? What are you going to do after this show? Whatever I feel like I want to do. God.
Gosh. See, I would have been more with peace out. I like your sleeves.
God, I like your sleeves. Those stupid moon boots that he wore.
For the dance.
So crazy.
Yeah. That made it though. Wait, does he have them on in this? Oh, they're not quite the moon boots that
No.
You know.
No, probably wasn't stable enough to keep him on the base. How about this? How about this one? Is there anyone else here? I'm trying to save money for college.
I don't remember that one.
What can I have for dinner? Kip ate the last frozen dinner.
What about vote for Pedro?
Vote for Pedro. Well, yeah. I got it. I caught you a delicious bass.
Yes.
All right, and with that, me, Charlie, and Stu, we're done for tonight. Thanks again so much for watching. Those of you watching this recorded, we appreciate you. Try to join us live if you can. Wednesdays, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's it. Peace out. Keep listening. Keep selling.